icebreaker speech. I'm going to talk a little bit about myself. And one of the things I was hoping to talk about is how I kind of got over my shyness. One of the things that I was in college, and this was like much later in life. I don't know, is anyone familiar with the term ambivert? Mm-hmm. An ambivert is someone who's both extroverted and introverted. They kind of have both. They kind of have both qualities, and they kind of go back and forth between the two. Well, I lived most of my life. I'm actually quite an extroverted person. Most people, if you meet me now, would actually agree with that. I'm very outgoing, sociable, and things of that nature, and I love talking to people. But most of my life, I actually grew up very, very shy and introverted. And so what I had to do was I had to go through a very long process of kind of reconverting myself into the extroverted me, and kind of coming in touch with that extroverted self that I had within. And one of the ways that I did that is, for most of my college career, for my undergraduate, I was never really the leader. I would always go for vice president, never the president of the club. You know, I would never be the one that jumped up first. I would always be the one that jumped up second. And I noticed that was like one of the biggest problems that I had is, you know, that person that jumps up first, that's the extrovert. You know, that's the person that's really going over there. That's the one that's the person that's very comfortable with themselves. And so I had to teach myself to do that. So one of the things that happened was, you know, I finished my undergraduate, and I realized, you know, I was having trouble getting a job, mostly because I didn't know how to market myself. It was those social skills that I didn't really have, and so I went back to school. And when I went back to school, I realized, you know, I'm going to do this all from scratch. And I'm going to start over again. And so the very first thing I did was I took on every leadership position I could possibly do. I was in 2 societies to I was in 8 societies, all in grad school. And I swear to God, I was in 8 societies all throughout grad school. And I took in every leadership role I could. And I took in every opportunity to get in front of people and talk that I could. And I went from this kind of shy guy that, you know, when I had to give my first presentation, if I was in front of 3 people, I swear to you, I would actually stutter and stammer my actual speech. It was that bad. And one of the things, and I'm probably doing it a little bit right now, I tended to talk really, really fast. And as much as I'm doing it right now, I did it even worse before. And so one of the first things I had to do is teach myself to, and our meditation and mindfulness specialists can probably attest to this, is I had to learn to breathe every once in a while, especially when I was going up in front of public. The very next thing, after I took on all these leadership positions, I really wanted to focus on, you know, acquiring the skills that you need to be sociable, to be outgoing, to kind of put yourself out there. And I realized the first thing that really came down to was I had to build up my confidence as an individual. You know, that introverted self that I had, he wasn't a very confident person. He was very unsure of himself, and he was, you know, at the end of the day, he just didn't believe in himself like he should. And so that was the first thing that had to go. After that, I realized that the second thing I had to do was I had to realize that people aren't scary. You know, as much as especially when I went up in front of public, you know, I realized that, you know, half the time people are so caught up in themselves that they don't even notice what you're talking about. So, except for here. So why should I be afraid of talking in front of them? And so I kind of took on some of these life lessons that I was starting to learn over time, and I applied them to my leadership roles. And I started to become that kind of extroverted self that I needed to be. And slowly but surely, I kind of kept going with it, and I am the person that I am today. And hopefully this is a good example of my newfound ability to public speak and take on leadership roles. Thank you.